Good afternoon, everybody. It's your boy, Pigskin Pete. Happy Wednesday to everybody. Join me tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for my live call-in show that I do every single Wednesday and Friday night. The people ask and the people shall receive. Well, what have they been asking you, Pete? They've been asking me, why don't you do preview games for Clemson games every week? Well, you ask and now you will receive. Let's go. All right. This weekend, this Saturday, October the 3rd, the Virginia Cavaliers travel up to Death Valley in Clemson to face the Tigers for a rematch of the ACC championship game. Now, Virginia has only had 2 games that they've played since the last time they played Clemson because they've canceled a couple of games due to the coronavirus. And so last week they got to finally get on the field for the first time this season and face off against Duke. They beat Duke 38-20, 18 points. That's a handed win there. Duke is kind of a disappointment. Let's be real here. Duke went into South Bend and Notre Dame the first game of the year. It's played good for the first half, and then Notre Dame opened it up on them. I thought that Duke was going to be a decent squad this year. Chase Bryce, transfer from Clemson, goes to Duke. David Cutcliffe's always got a good squad. Duke is sitting there at 0-3. Things are not looking good for the Blue Devils. But nonetheless, the Virginia Cavaliers handled business. Now, this game that Clemson and Virginia played in the ACC championship did not go well for Virginia. Now, last year, Virginia had a good team. I mean, the Coastal Division in the ACC is a hodgepodge of mediocre teams almost every single year. Well, they've had 7 different champions in 7 different years. That tells you all you need to know. There is not any other conference or division in college football that has that much parity. Nonetheless, Bronco Mendenhall has been building something there that is impressive. They had a 9-win season last year. They were 9-5. They played Florida in a bowl game and gave Florida everything they could handle, 36-28. So that's only a 8-point difference there. So they were within a touchdown of competing with one of the best teams. Well, depending on who you ask, in the SEC. Of course, Florida looks good this year, but that's neither here nor there. So what can we expect this weekend? Vegas has Clemson as a 28-point favorite, which I think is close to what they were in the ACC championship last year. I don't expect to see the same result for a few reasons. Number one, I think Virginia has learned from what happened, and Bronco Mendenhall said so much himself in his interview this week that the way that they lost to Clemson, as bad as they lost to Clemson in the ACC championship, they learned a lot from that, and they took that over from the ACC championship game into the bowl game with Florida, and we saw the result of that. They got better. I think they have a better... Bronco Mendenhall, he hasn't been there for that long. 4 years now? So he hasn't played Clemson a whole lot. He has a better idea now about what to expect, especially since Clemson has so many of the same players returning on offense. Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, Maury Rogers, Frank Ladson. So I expect to see a better effort and a better execution out of the Virginia Cavaliers. Now let's look at so the big news here is they lose one of the best quarterbacks in the ACC last year, Bryce Perkins. So he's gone. Last week, they bring in a first-time starter, Brennan Armstrong. He had a really good game. Now, again, it was against Duke. So I don't want you to see the people in the comment section saying, well, we don't know why you're giving them so much credit. This played Duke. Duke's no good. I understand that. But this is this guy's first start, okay? 269 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns, another rushing touchdown, and almost 50 rushing yards. Now, he did throw 2 interceptions, and that's to be expected from a young guy like Brennan Armstrong is. But some other key players on their offense, wide receiver Lavelle Davis, he's a true freshman, had over 100 yards receiving and 2 touchdowns in his premiere. His first start, he's a true freshman, first start in a college game, and he went out there and balled out. They also have a really exciting player on offense, a grad transfer from Central Michigan, a tight end named Tony Polijan, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Polijan. He had 4 or 5 receptions and had a good game as well. He'll be an integral part of that offense. Defensively, Virginia is always going to be a decent squad. I don't think they're going to take much of a step back from last season. Now, on the Tigers side of it, I mean, what do you say about the Tigers, right? I mean, everybody knows who they've got, who's coming back. You got a couple of guys that are at least in the top 5 or 10 of the Heisman leaderboard. Travis Etienne and Trevor Lawrence. Now Clemson's sitting there at 2-0, which is no surprise. They went and beat the brakes off of Wake Forest. Week 1, 49-0 against the Citadel. That was not to be. That was to be expected. Trevor Lawrence has only played 4 quarters. Well, maybe a little over 4 quarters in 2 games, which is also not to be, or is to be expected. Clemson has a really young defensive line, but these 2 true freshmen, Brian Brzee at tackle and Miles Murphy at the end, have put on a show. And they are freak athletes. Clemson's real problem, not necessarily a problem, because their first team, their starters on the offensive line are as good as Clemson's had. The second string, though, is a different story. If Virginia can find a way to wear down the offense, because Virginia has a really good defensive line, if they can find a way to wear down the offensive line, that could be a way to disrupt Clemson and keep this game close into the second half. The last thing that Virginia needs to happen is for Clemson to do what most people think they're going to do and come out there and come up 21-28-0 in the first half. Virginia's not really built, especially with a young quarterback and a young receiving corps, to come back from something like that. If they can keep it close within the half, then they can make it a game. That's the only way this is going to happen. Now, Virginia beat Virginia Tech last year for the first time, I don't know, since colored TV came out. I don't know. It was a long time. And again, Virginia fans are very, very optimistic about where their program is heading, as they should be. Bronco Mendenhall is a really good coach. He's recruiting better. He's obviously executing better. So Virginia could be a thorn in people's side in the ACC, but I don't see them being a thorn in Clemson's side. The last thing I want Clemson to do, and I don't think that they will do it, is look ahead to next week, October the 10th, when Miami rolls to town, because Miami is sitting on their high horse right now after they ran Florida State off the field. They're sitting there at 3-0, and they think they have a legitimate chance to come into Death Valley and beat Clemson, and who knows what could happen. College football is crazy. Anybody can lose on any given week. I don't think Clemson will look past Virginia. I think that Dabo Swinney and Brent Venables have too much respect for Bronco Mendenhall and his squad to let that happen. So I expect this game, my final score prediction here is going to be 45-20. So a 25-point victory by the Tigers. Let me know your comments down below. What do you think about this game, and how bad are the Tigers going to beat the Cavaliers? I'll see you soon. Pigskin Pete is checking out.